Wilson's running. He's got all day. He stays in bounds. Zach Wilson caught it. Zach Wilson gets in the end zone for the touchdown.
Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to Jets Media. We live here on Saturday evening to talk about the New York Jets. We got 5 more days until the draft. We got a lot of things to catch up on. As you guys know, I've been not active here on Jets Media for the past week. I've been away from home, as you guys saw from my post on the community tab, or if you saw my quick live stream when Deebo Samuel demanded a trade. I was actually on a retreat. I was on a yoga retreat with my friend and my cousin, and we were just, disconnecting from reality for just a bit. But hey, all that doesn't matter because I'm back home, and we are going to be going crazy here on Jets Media today, tomorrow, all the way leading up into the draft, and of course after the draft, recapping what the Jets did, and of course going into the offseason. So there's a lot of great things, a lot of fun things planned here on Jets Media in the next couple of days, and of course all throughout the rest of the offseason. So if you guys are just tuning in to Jets Media for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I got a lot of fun things here for Jets fans and of course NFL fans as well. And if you want to hit that like button if you're watching this live or you're watching a replay. I greatly appreciate everybody tuning in and all the support on Jets Media. Man, oh man, did it feel a little out of my comfort zone to not be on my phone and to not be connected with the world of the New York Jets and the world of Twitter and YouTube and all my other sports teams as well. As you guys know, I'm a huge Knicks and a huge Mets fan as well. It felt weird, guys. It really did. But at the same time, I needed it because my life has been so immersed and so, sports oriented, and I'm not complaining. I absolutely love it, as you guys know. But at the same time, it did feel good to take a step back and focus on myself for a couple of days and get connected with nature and all that great stuff. But hey, it feels good to be back. There's a lot of things to get caught up on. But before we do that, let's get into the chat. What's good, everybody? We got someone saying Drake London at 4, Jermaine Johnson at 10. All right, I see you. We'll get into all those scenarios in the stream. What's good, AB? The sentence says, we'll trade Deebo for 2 firsts in 2022, and you got to take Jimmy too. Deal? We'll get into all this stuff. Deebo Samuel demanding a trade. Will the New York Jets get him or not? We'll be talking about all of that. Martin saying, let's go Jets. Appreciate Martin tuning in. Appreciate you, Martin. Yo, welcome back, Richie. Thank you so much, man. Feels good to be back. How about the Mets? Zachary, oh, man. The Mets. We're going to be making some content about the Mets this week as well. Tree Hugger, what up, Nolan? Welcome into the stream, my man. So, as we all know, the New York Jets got 5 days until the NFL draft. And there's a lot of things that could happen in those 5 days. And that is a man that every single Jets fan wants. I mean, I don't want to say every single Jets fan, but a lot of Jets fans want a certain player to be on the New York Jets, either before the draft or on draft night. And that man is Deebo Samuel. So we're going to start off the stream talking about Deebo Samuel and the potential of him being a New York Jet. What type of trade package should the New York Jets get or request to the San Francisco 49ers? Should they offer him a big contract? Doesn't make a lot of sense for Deebo Samuel to be on the New York Jets. That's what we're going to be talking about. If you guys want, I want to hear your guys' thoughts about Deebo Samuel in the chat, or if you're watching a replay, do you want the Jets to go all in and offer either the 10th overall pick or maybe the 2 second-round picks, 35, 38, and the 69, something similar to the package that we offered to the Kansas City Chiefs for Tyreek Hill? And also, are you willing to pay Deebo Samuel around $25 million per year to make him a long-term Jet? So we're going to be talking about this to start off. We're also going to be recapping what happened with Joe Douglas in his interview with the Michael Kay Show. As I see someone in the chat, yes, Zachary's asking, yes, I did see the Joe Douglas and Michael Kay interview. Actually, listened to that today. So we're going to be talking about that as well. My takeaways from what Joe Douglas had to say on ESPN's podcast with the Michael Kay Show, because he had really interesting things to say about what to expect in the NFL draft. But first, let's talk about Deebo Samuel, because this is something that if you guys have been following my stream, following my channel for a while, you know that I've been begging Joe Douglas and the New York Jets to go out there and trade for a big-time receiver, whether that is Tyreek Hill, whether that's DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, or Deebo Samuel. And now there is a player on the trade market, and his name is Deebo Samuel. He has officially demanded a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. He wants out. He does not want to get paid by them. He wants to be traded. Now, this is a really big opportunity for Joe Douglas and the New York Jets, right? First things first, we don't even know if Deebo Samuel wants to be on the Jets because there's rumors that he wants to be out of San Francisco because he wants to be in a new system. He wants to be a player that's looked at as just a receiver and not someone that's a wingback that does both. So the first thing is, we don't even know if Deebo wants to be on the Jets. And if he doesn't want to be on the Jets, then nothing will happen out of it because he has a say. He's not going to sign an extension. The Jets are not going to trade for Deebo Samuel if he's not going to sign a big-time extension with the Jets. So first things first, we do not know if Deebo wants to be on the Jets. But say he does, right? Say he loves Mike LaFleur. He feels like LaFleur will be creative with him. He feels like he's going to make sure that he is a wide receiver instead of just a guy that's going to be doing everything. And he feels comfortable with Robert Saleh being the head coach, and he likes the direction. He likes Zach Wilson. And say he does feel like the New York Jets would be a new home for him that he'd be open to. Then we're in a good situation here because there's a rumor and a report saying that the three teams that are interested in Deebo are the Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, and the New York Jets. And what Joe Douglas had to say on the Michael Kay show, which we'll get into as well, it sounded like the Jets were a little upset with how the Tyreek Hill situation got wrapped up, right? It seemed like they felt like they struck out on a big-time superstar talent, and they could have done a little more to get him here. And maybe they learned from that experience and are going to be even more aggressive in the pursuit of Deebo Samuel. Another thing I want to warn Jets fans, and I keep warning myself, is do not get so caught up in Deebo Samuel coming to the Jets because it is still unlikely in my opinion. Yes, he is on the trade block and he will be traded potentially, and the Jets are interested. But all I'm trying to say is don't get your hopes up just to get shot down to the ground because that's what happened with all of us with the Tyreek Hill situation. That came out of nowhere. We're all like, oh my God, Tyreek Hill's available for 3 hours. It's either the Jets or the Dolphins, and we all know how that went. So don't expect Deebo Samuel to be on the Jets just because he's available and the Jets are interested. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed going to happen. But with that being said, let's get into the hypothetical potential of Deebo Samuel being on the New York Jets because, oh my gosh, would his game take his offense to an absolute another level. If you heard Joe Douglas speak to Michael Kay, he definitely seems like he's interested in getting a veteran wide receiver to help out their young quarterback in Zach Wilson. But the good thing is, if they strike out on that veteran receiver leading up into the draft, we have capital to get a big-time player in the draft like a Drake London or a Garrett Wilson or a Jameson Williams or all those guys. So what will Deebo Samuel bring to the table if the New York Jets traded for him? Say we give up 35, 38, 69 for Deebo Samuel hypothetically. We still hold on to number 4, number 10. And yes, I know that number 10 is in another potential trade package, right? Say the Jets just flip number 10 for Deebo Samuel and it's done. Deebo's on the Jets. We give up number 10 and going into the draft, we have picks 4, 35, 38. We have a really good opportunity to build around Zach Wilson with the acquisition of Deebo Samuel. So all the reasons that I want to mention that'll make so much sense for the Jets to get Deebo Samuel is he's coming off a season that is pretty much historic. If you look at his numbers, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous what he did at the wide receiver position, as a wingback, whatever you want to call him. But he did so many great things, and he's experienced, right? He's going to come into this New York Jets team, hypothetically, if he does come here, obviously, and help out Elijah Moore's year 2. Help out Zach Wilson in year number 2. Help out even Corey Davis open up. If Deebo Samuel's on the New York Jets, the offense is complete. The only thing we're missing on offense, in my opinion, if we do get Deebo Samuel, is depth. Depth on the offensive line, depth at the running back position, even depth at the wide receiver position. Everything else, the starting positions are pretty much locked up. Offensive line looks like it's locked up. Tight end position looks like it's the top 2. They're locked up. The running backs, Michael Carter, Tevin Coleman, we're probably going to draft another one for depth to be a complementary piece. That's pretty much locked up. So the New York Jets are one big-time receiver away from this offense looking legit, looking set, man. And that's a really good thing because last year the Jets hit an absolute home run in the draft on the offensive side of the ball with Zach Wilson. We'll see what he becomes. Obviously, Elijah Vera Tucker, Elijah Moore, and Michael Carter, all in one draft class. Those are 4 potential cornerstone pieces on the same side of the ball on offense. And now we have an opportunity to add to the nucleus in the NFL draft, especially with the potential of adding a star receiver like Deebo Samuel. So everybody let me know in the chat right now, do you want the New York Jets to trade for Deebo Samuel? Yes or no? I want to hear your thoughts. And if you're watching this on replay, comment down below your thoughts if you want Deebo Samuel on the New York Jets or not. Good to see you guys active in the chat, of course, and I'm really excited to see what you guys have to say. Jets mess. What's good, bro? Welcome back to the channel. It feels like most Jets fans are definitely going to want Deebo Samuel, right? Why wouldn't you? That's my question. And some other NFL news across the street with the New York Giants. Kadarius Toney is on the trade block all of a sudden. I don't think the Jets should be interested in that because we got Elijah Moore. If we're going to trade for a receiver, I'd rather have someone that has experience in the league. But it's pretty crazy that the New York Giants, first of all, passed on Elijah Moore and took Kadarius Toney, and they're already trying to trade him away. That is the example of the Jets, I don't know, just drafting better than the Giants. No shade at the Giants. I don't know if there's any Giants fans in here, but hey, that feels pretty good. So let's get into Joe Douglas's press conference because he had a lot of crazy things to say being interviewed by on the Michael Kay show. So let's get into that. I'm sure you guys already heard what Joe Douglas had to say there. So Joe Douglas, my biggest takeaways is it definitely seems likely that Joe Douglas would love to trade for a veteran receiver in Deebo Samuel, right? Or another player that potentially becomes available. And we're going to find out if that happens like soon, guys. Like it's either right before the draft or on draft night. The Jets could trade for Deebo Samuel on draft night. The Jets could be on the clock at number 10 and all of a sudden we traded away and Deebo Samuel's a Jet and a contract extension is done. That could happen. Not saying it will happen, but it could. Another thing that I noticed from the Joe Douglas interview with the Michael Kay show is don't be shocked if the New York Jets draft an offensive lineman at number 4. And I've been saying this for a long time, even with the signing of Laken Tomlinson, because what Joe Douglas said that really opened my eyes, that I've been saying the same thing on my channel for a long time, is that the Jets are not drafting at number 4 for 2022 necessarily, right? They got a big picture here. They're drafting for the depth chart in 2022 and beyond. 2023 season, 2024, 25, 26, and the future of this New York Jets team. If their board shapes out, and say, for example, Kayvon Thibodeau's off the board, Aiden Hutchinson's off the board, and they're on the clock at number 4, and Ike Ekwonu is their highest ranked player on their board, and they're on the clock at number 4, I would not be shocked if Ekwonu is the pick. Now, the big question is who the hell is going to be benched, who is going to be playing, who's not going to be playing. All I'm saying is don't be surprised if Joe Douglas drafts a player like Ekwonu at 4 or Evan Neal. Not saying it's going to happen, not saying it's the right move or the wrong move, but I'm just trying to give you guys an understanding that is not off the table for the Jets to do that, because it seemed like Joe Douglas was saying to the Michael Kay show that they value the line of scrimmage more than anything else, and I would be shocked if at number 4 it's not going to be a player in the trenches, whether that be on the offense or the defensive side of the ball. But the New York Jets at the tackle position, outside of Mekhi Becton, don't really have anybody under contract for the future outside of the season. George Fant is a free agent. Connor McDermott under 1 year. He's just a depth piece. Edoga, we don't think Edoga is going to do anything for the future for this team. Mekhi Becton is another player that's an X factor as well because he's coming off a big-time injury. So if Ekwonu is on the board at 4, it really makes you wonder, will the Jets take him for the long-term thing and make Ekwonu and Becton the long-term bookend tackles for this team and have George Fant go into his final year with the Jets? I don't know what they'll do, but that is definitely something I took away from the most from the New York Jets, from Joe Douglas speaking to Michael Kay. I also want to mention he definitely brought up the wide receivers in this draft, and he loves them. And the one thing I will say as well is if the Jets do not get Deebo Samuel, if they not trade for any receiver, do not be shocked if the New York Jets go out there and draft a receiver high in this draft. Whether that being a number 10, whether that trading back into the first round for a receiver that's falling, or that's drafting a receiver at 35 or 38. I definitely think that will happen if the Jets do not trade for a receiver. Guaranteed. They will draft one at 10. they will either hey, maybe the Jets even draft one at 4 for all we know, because maybe they love someone so much to the point where they don't think they'll be available at 10. You never know what's going to happen. I think it's either going to be this. The Jets don't trade for receiver, right? They're going to take one either at number 10. 4 is optional, but I really think it's going to be in the trenches. They're going to trade back into the first receiver, or they're going to take 135 or 38. Absolutely, for sure, right? So that's definitely something to keep an eye on for. Joe Douglas also got asked about Mekhi Becton. We found out that Mekhi is not at the voluntary workouts, and Connor Hughes is out there calling him out on Twitter. Justin Hardy goes out there and grounds Connor Hughes, which is great to see, because Mekhi Becton is expecting a newborn baby. He doesn't have to be at voluntary workouts. I don't know why that's a story, but I know that Mekhi Becton has a target on his back from Jets fans and NFL fans, and I guess the beat for whatever reason. But Joe Douglas is excited about the progression of Mekhi Becton in the offseason. He's working out in Dallas with Duke Manyweather, and it's just, don't think anything more about that Mekhi Becton's missing voluntary workouts when he's expecting a newborn baby, right? So that's another thing I wanted to talk about. He also mentioned something that I wanted to bring up to you guys, that he mentioned a potential trade during draft night, right? Michael K asked him, should we expect the Jets to move up or down? And his answer was, he's always going to answer the phone. If a player is falling, he will definitely pursue a trade up, just like last year with Elijah Vera-Tucker. And he'll also pick up the phone in a hypothetical scenario of a team that's willing to trade for their pick, and they'll move back for future capital in next year's draft. So I thought that was very interesting, because Joe Douglas did say that he'd want to get capital for next year's draft. And if you look at next year's draft, the Jets do not have a lot of capital like we are used to in the last 2 seasons, having 2 first-round picks. We have another second this year. We have 2 fourths, 2 fifths, right? So Joe Douglas, I think he's going to be moving back in this year's draft to pick up capital next year. And I think some Jets fans are going to say, no, don't do that. I want them to pick every single player that we can this year. Next year doesn't matter. But nah. I fully expect Joe Douglas to trade back at least once to get picks from next year. And I think they can move up and down in this draft, right? That is something that I'm expecting the Jets to do. Not saying they're going to get like a haul and get another first next year, but you never know, they can do that. They could trade back from 10 and get a future first next year if they wanted to. If they like their players on the board, they feel like it's going to be available later on in the draft. But I definitely thought that is noteworthy, that Joe Douglas is willing to move up for a player that's falling. He's moving to move back for more capital. Expect the Jets to do both. I really, really do expect that. So, guys, if you're just tuning into the show, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. It feels good to be back talking Jets with you guys here in Jets Media. Don't forget to hit that like button if you guys are just tuning in. We got 30 likes with around 65 of you guys watching this live. Let's get to 100 likes by the end of the stream. So if you're enjoying the show, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. It really does mean a lot to the channel, for sure. Now, let's get into the chat. I want to hear what you guys have to say. What was your biggest takeaways from Joe Douglas talking to the Michael K show? Was it the offensive line question? Was it, offense or defense at number 4? Because if you guys saw, Woody Johnson on Twitter had a poll saying, where do you think the Jets are going to go? What do you want the Jets to do at number 4, offense or defense? And the Jets fans definitely want defense over offense at number 4. And Joe Douglas laughed about that. So it's really interesting. So let me know in the chat, guys, your thoughts about Joe Douglas and on the Michael K show. I gave you guys my thoughts, saying that he's not worried about Mekhi Becton. Loves the wide receivers in this draft. Seems like he does want to. He prefers to trade for a receiver that's a veteran rather than draft a player. And he definitely values the trenches. And don't be shocked if an offensive lineman is the pick at number 4. That's my biggest takeaways. Let me hear your biggest takeaways in the chat. Another thing happened while I was gone that I was unable to talk about was this right here. The Jets got reported to voluntary workouts, and we got beautiful pictures of the Jets out there with Zach Wilson throwing to Braxton Berrios. Tyler Conklin was there. We got a lot of Jets at voluntary workouts working out together. And it felt great to see Jets just back in action, just working out at One Jets Drive at the training facility. Look at this. Look at Quadzilla Zach Wilson. He definitely's got the flow going. It's great to see Zach Wilson out there getting chemistry with the players. But all this doesn't matter, because the main topic at hand is the draft that's coming up so soon It is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm super excited to break everything down here on Jets Media, leading up until the draft, and of course on draft night, where we will be live for the first round on Thursday night, baby. Let's do it. So now I want to get into the chat even more. I want to open this up to a Jets Q&A. So if you guys have any questions that you guys want me to talk about, let me know. We are now open to a Q&A. So please shoot me any questions regarding the draft, regarding Deebo Samuel, Zach Wilson, even Joe Douglas. Love to hear what you guys have to say. Any topics that you want me to talk about, please feel free to do so. And of course, super chats are priority. They do go first. You get to skip the line, and I get to go over your question a little more in detail. So let me know your thoughts in the chat. Any questions you guys might have about the New York Jets. Did you see the pics of Zach Wilson? Of course I did. I have it right here on the board, Zachary. As you can see, those quads are definitely popping out, man. You love to see him gaining muscle, whether that's his shoulders, his overall build, his legs. You want Zach Wilson to not only progress as a quarterback, but progress and grow into his body physically, which it seems like they are definitely doing. Joe, the Jets says Deebo in this offense would be dirty. Yes, he would. Deebo Samuel in this offense with Elijah Moore and Corey Davis and Braxton Berrios and Michael Carter and Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzomah and Michael Carter. I think I already mentioned him. With the offensive line that we have, it's like a dream. They can just make it happen, man. What do you want to give up for Deebo? I personally rather the Jets give up both second-round picks and maybe another late-round pick rather than giving up just number 10. Because I feel like if we can give up 35, 38, and maybe 69, or maybe we don't have to give up 69 and give up a fourth or maybe a pick next year, that would be preferable for me rather than giving up the number 10 pick. Because if you do that, then we can get Deebo Samuel and we can have number 4, number 10 to add to the roster. And it will give us a flexibility of not taking a receiver, obviously, at number 4 or 10. So say the Jets do that, and we can go all trenches in the first round, right? I'm down for that. Imagine if the Jets come away in the first round with, like, Kayvon Thibodeau at 4, and at number 10, maybe they trade back from 10, and then they can get Tyler Linderbaum and another player on defense. I don't know. I'm just saying. Or they can go even to Kwanu if they wanted to. But I don't know. I would prefer to give up not that much for Deebo in terms of I'd rather not give up number 10. But if it has to be number 10 and it's 10 for Deebo straight up and it happens, I'll be jumping for joy. And I'll be pretty pumped about it. But let me know your thoughts, guys. What would you want to give up for Deebo Samuel? Pick number 10, or is that too much? Would you rather do 35 and 38 and a couple late round picks? Let's get back in. Linderbaum has talks about dropping to the second round. Yes, Jesse, I've been seeing this. And if the Jets can get him in the second round, oh my gosh. I would not be shocked if the Jets trade back into the back end of the first round if he's falling and taking him, to be honest. I really feel like that is a possibility. Or if he falls to 35, then the Jets could be taking him there. But a thing that really I keep reminding myself that I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets move back into the first round to take 3 first-round picks is to get control over that player for an extra 5th year, if you guys remember. Joe Douglas won't trade 10 if I had to guess. I agree, Nolan. I think he will be trying to package a similar deal of the Tyreek Hill situation, 35, 38, 69, or 35, 38 in a 4th, or 35, 38 picks in next year's draft. I think that will be better, and I think that's what Joe Douglas prefers as well. He wants to keep those top 10 picks. Owen says, I would go 35, 111, and a 2nd or 4th next year. Then I would trade back into the 1st and recoup those picks next year. Man, Owen, I love this hypothetical scenario. I would do the same thing. I think this would make a ton of sense. Montauk says, I don't want Deebo. Draft their own receiver. So this is definitely something that is interesting. You know, some Jets fans have this perspective, and I understand this. Listen, we should draft our own receivers. We drafted Elijah Moore last year. We drafted Denzel Mims the year before that. Denzel Mims obviously has not been working out. Hopefully he can break out in year number 3, but I don't really expect that, to be honest. Elijah Moore looks like a legit player on this Jets team that we can develop, and I like the Jets building through the draft. But my thing about this is we have an opportunity here where we have capital to be able to trade for a star receiver to make an immediate impact now while not sacrificing this future of the team, right? We have so much capital and cap space for the future where we are luxurious to be able to afford a player like Deebo Samuel to give up capital and not feel like we just strapped ourselves like now we don't have any draft picks anymore. We just trade them all for one player. We can trade for a player while still being draft rich. And that is huge. That is a big time plus that the Jets have that we need to take advantage of. And a big difference of drafting your own receivers and trading for an established player like Deebo Samuel is look what the Buffalo Bills did with Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen was entering year number 3. They went out there and got a bona fide star veteran receiver in Stephon Diggs, and Josh Allen all of a sudden becomes an elite quarterback. Now, I'm not saying that the only reason why Josh Allen took that step is because of Stephon Diggs, but I think we can all agree that was a big-time reason for it. The difference of getting Stephon Diggs or drafting a rookie in the first round is the rookie's going to have that learning curve. Not every single rookie is going to be Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase out of the gate, right? They're not going to be superstars in their rookie seasons. That's just not guaranteed, and you don't want to bank on a rookie to take that step immediately. For me personally, I'd rather the Jets get a bona fide veteran that's been in this league for 3 years or 4 years, and they know the game, they know the speed of the NFL, and they're going to take a lot of attention off of Elijah Moore, off of Corey Davis. That's only going to open up them. So I understand the perspective of not wanting Deebo because you want to build through the draft our own, but we are doing that already, right? It's not like the Jets aren't building through the draft. We got Michael Carter as a franchise running back potentially. We got Elijah Moore through the draft. We got a lot of players on the offensive line through the draft, and I would prefer to get Deebo, right? I really feel like that one. Get the veteran now before Zach Wilson's contract is up. This is another good point from Derek right here. We only have a small window of Zach Wilson on a rookie contract, right? And best case scenario is the Jets sign Zach Wilson to a huge contract. Want to know why? Because that means he earned the contract, and that means that he played great football to the point where the Jets would extend him big time. And that's what we should be rooting for. We want Zach Wilson to become a really high-paid quarterback, because if that's the case, that means he's playing really darn good football. And we only have a short window of Zach Wilson on his rookie deal. So when Zach Wilson does get paid, and obviously we don't know if that's going to happen or not, then a lot of money is going to be going to him. So right now is a perfect opportunity for the Jets to take the money that would be going into Zach Wilson's contract in the future, hypothetically, into a big-time playmaker to surround him like a Deebo Samuel, if that makes any sense. I love it. Spray and Pray says, dude, I love the Jets. I don't want Deebo Samuel. I think Zach is going to go crazy next year. I hope Zach Wilson goes crazy next year. I'm curious why you don't want Deebo Samuel. You're saying we don't need Deebo. Yeah, I feel like some majority of Jets fans want Deebo, but there is a small percentage that doesn't, and I understand both sides of it. I personally, like I've said over and over in this stream already, I would love Deebo Samuel. Like, why wouldn't you want him, right? I feel like we do need him. I feel like this Jets offense is one big-time star receiver away from being absolutely set and letting Zach Wilson take a huge step in year number 2. Because we did not get any new receivers in this offseason. Not one. That kind of worries me. We lose Jamison Crowder. We lose Keelan Cole. And everybody else is the same. Luckily, we re-signed Braxton Berrios. And we have Corey Davis and Elijah Moore and Denzel, right? We didn't add a receiver. That scares me. We don't have that much depth at receiver either. So I want the Jets to trade for a receiver and draft a receiver and let it do it, man. Get Deebo. This is a real good move in developing Zach. Facts. It's all about Zach Wilson. It's all about giving him all the weapons. I agree. What's up, Richie? How you been? I've been good, Taco Fall. Miss you, man. Welcome back to the stream. Appreciate you. Trade for Deebo and grab another receiver later in the draft. Facts, D. Jones. This is the vision. I would love the Jets to trade for Deebo and then draft a guy like Bo Melton potentially, and then we just added 2 receivers, one being a star in Deebo and another one being a developmental piece for the future and provide depth. Someone said we'll be overpaying Deebo. AJ says overpay? We have tons of money. Y'all making no sense by not wanting Deebo. I agree, AJ. Listen, we have money to overpay for a player where Zach Wilson's not getting a big contract yet. Elijah Moore doesn't need a big contract yet. All the players on rookie deals, this is our time to pay for a receiver. And you have to overpay, you overpay, because we have the ability to do that and not sacrifice capital for the future or sacrifice our financial flexibility for the future. That's what Joe Douglas did. He is maintaining cap flexibility for this exact reason, to go out there and trade for a player and overpay for a receiver in order to help out Zach Wilson. I think it's worth it, man. I really, really do. You just pick up the Becton jersey? Nah, I've had this jersey since he was drafted, actually. I just put it on the wall recently, though. I'm usually busy during the offseason, but I'll be back in the chat for every regular season game draft night. Want to see your reactions. Thanks, Taco Fall. Appreciate you tuning in, man. Cap is also going up again next year. Facts, man. This is the time to pay your receiver and Deebo. Bring him in. Jets fans who don't want Deebo are delusional. Every team can't pull off what the Bengals pulled off. Yeah, listen, I understand both sides, but I'm definitely with you, D. Jones. I want Deebo Samuel. Like I've said on this channel over and over and over again, we should take advantage of the capital that we have and get a big-time splashy player like Deebo Samuel to take Zach Wilson's game to another level. So yeah, guys, again, this is a Jets Q&A. We're just chilling here on a Saturday evening. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. If you do not already, make sure you smash that like button. We have just under 100 people tuning in with 44 likes. Smash that thumbs up button. Let me know your thoughts and anything that you want to talk about. Let me see, baby. Let's see. What does a Deebo trade look like? Asks Julian. I think it's one of number 10 straight up or a bunch of later picks like 35, 38, 69 potentially. Deebo not leaving Niners. You never know what could happen. He can easily change his mind and go back to the Niners. Just because he demanded a trade doesn't mean he's guaranteed out of there. But the Jets are one of 3 teams the rumored be linked to it. How are you doing, Richie? How was Colorado? Colorado was absolutely fantastic. I stayed in the city of Denver for a weekend with my buddy who moved there from college. And then after my weekend in Denver, I went down south to a retreat and literally lived in like the middle of nowhere for a couple days and got disconnected from the world. And it felt phenomenal connecting with the mountains and the stars were crazy. Everything was crazy in Colorado. But it felt good to disconnect, but it also feels good to be live right now talking with everybody in the chat, because at one point I was like, man, I miss my Jets subscribers. I miss talking Jets. I miss being able to talk about my teams. But I'm not complaining. It felt good to get away. Thank you for asking, my man. Feels good to be back talking Jets. Taco asked, do you think Deebo would be happy to see Saleh again, or do you think he doesn't care because he had nothing to do with defense? I think he'd be more happy to be with Mike LaFleur over Saleh, just because there was a picture I saw on Twitter when they were in San Francisco together. Deebo was hugging Mike LaFleur, and it looked pretty like they love each other in a way. Like Deebo and LaFleur have a good relationship. I don't know his relationship with Saleh or LaFleur to speak on it. So I feel like if he got along with Saleh on the Niners, you never know. I mean, I feel like Deebo drafted as a rookie when Saleh was still with them. Or no, last year. What am I saying? The year before that. I think it was 2 years they had together. 49er Media is in the chat, giving his 49er perspective. It bends how far apart they are now. If Deebo and the Niners don't think they can fix a relationship, then he is gone for sure. Yeah, now this is coming from a 49ers perspective, guys. All the Jets fans in the chat, make sure you take 49er Media, his opinion, pretty respectfully, right? You never know what can happen. As a Jets fan, you know where I want the Jets to go, right? I believe the trade is already in place for Deebo. I think it hasn't been announced because the Niners don't want teams trading up to get in front of them, taking wide receivers. I think the package is 10 and 111. If this is the package and we have Deebo Samuel, ooh, I'm down. I am down. I just hope Zach doesn't make me toss this jersey. I haven't gotten his jersey yet. I told myself I'm not buying a Zach jersey until he proves to be the franchise guy, and that's nothing against Zach. That's just me learning from my past experiences by having 2 Sam Darnold jerseys and not knowing what to do with it now. You feel me? Oh, I love it. It's all good, though. It's all good. But how hyped are you guys about this draft, man? Because I am big time. I'm excited. Excited. But yeah, guys, let me know any questions, anything you want me to talk about. Feel free to send it in. we got a lot to catch up on, man. Whether that's Mekhi Becton stuff that's going on, whether that's rumors surrounding Deebo, whether that's the Jets' voluntary workouts, whether that's previewing the draft or who the hell we're going to draft at 4 and 10 and 35 and 38. Rich Homie says, news just leaked that Niners are doing their due diligence homework on wide receiver Garrett Wilson and Jameson Williams. They don't have a first-round pick. I like the sound of this rumor, Rich. Yeah, sign me up. If they want to trade for number 10, they can get one of those two players with that. Dude, I have a closet full of jerseys that I don't know what to do with. I feel you, Jason. I feel you. I luckily did not get a Bell jersey. I just got a Bell t-shirt. Could we acknowledge what Joe said at the conference regarding the coaching staff on the draft? He said, everyone checks their ego at the door, meaning there's no disagreements on what player we draft. I love that. I love that quote. You saw the behind the scenes with the draft process last year with the Jets, with the Flight 2021. And we all know that the Jets murdered the draft last year. And they're doing the same process again. They learned from last year what they did good and what they did bad. So I love the camaraderie the Jets have with Joe Douglas, his front office, and the coaching staff and their connection. I feel like it's going to be a really good time for the New York Jets this year for the draft for that exact reason. What's going on the radar is that the Niners were at Drake London's pro day, even they have no first-round pick, around the same time Deebo allegedly informed him his request. Yeah, if they're doing homework on the first-round receivers and they don't have a first-round pick, that really makes you wonder, why are they doing that? Maybe it's because, all right, we'll trade Deebo Samuel away and then we'll replace him with a first-round pick. I'm down. This is a good question. What's your preference if KT is gone by 4? Now, it really depends. I'm assuming Hutchinson is gone as well. I'd rather them stay with their best player available approach, whether that being, oh man, it's tough. It really is tough because Hutchinson and Thibodeau are my favorite two guys at number 4. But if those guys are gone, then if they want to take their next best edge rusher available, like Jermaine Johnson, I'd be okay with that. But if they take a Kwanu, like I would not be shocked if a Kwanu is the pick. And I know I would say a lot of Jets fans would be upset with Kwanu because we wouldn't know what the plan is, right? Because we have 2 tackles that we feel like are going to be starting in George Fant and Mekhi Becton. And we also signed Laken Tomlinson to be a guard. So we have 2 starting guards in Elijah Vera-Tucker and Laken Tomlinson. So if we draft a Kwanu, who's not playing? That's the big question. But what we heard from Joe Douglas is the Jets are not drafting for the 2022 season. They're drafting for 2022 and beyond. They got a long-term vision, and that's a very good thing that the Jets have a long-term vision because a lot of times, previous Jets regimes, they're trying to save their jobs. They're trying to draft and go into free agency with the approach of I got to win as many games this season, otherwise I'm going to be fired. So they sacrifice the future to win now, and that set this franchise back numerous times. The refreshing thing is Joe Douglas and his staff have a long-term approach. And that might, itch Jets fans the wrong way because we still aren't good, right? We're coming off a bad season, win-loss-wise, and we don't want to be patient anymore. We want to start winning games now. But the good thing is that the Jets do have a long-term approach, and hopefully if their vision does come to fruition, then they're going to be having a long-term, sustainable, good organization being competitive every single year. So it'll be interesting, man. If Kwanu is to pick at 4, I won't be mad because I'll understand the assignment, but I'll be disappointed that we didn't get an edge at 4. If Kwanu is to pick at 4, I would be shocked if we do not take an edge at 10. Right? Say the Jets trade, this is my dream scenario right here. The Jets trade for Deebo Samuel by giving up 35 and 38 and another pick. We hold out to 4 and 10. We draft Kwanu at 4 and Jermaine Johnson at 10. We get our receiver in Deebo. We get our 2 blue-chip trench players in the top 10 in the first round. Let's go crazy in 2022. Let's go crazy. If we don't trade for a receiver, then I would like the Jets to go edge at 4, Kayvon Thibodeau, preferably if he's there. Maybe even Jermaine Johnson at 4, and then a receiver at 10 like a Jameson Williams or a Garrett Wilson or a Drake London, or trading back in the draft, getting a Treylon Burks. Do you agree with the philosophy, according to JD, to draft the best player available, not by position? I definitely agree. I think every single GM goes about this approach. And Joe Douglas said with Michael Kay that their best player available approach isn't just the best player, like their board that they create is not about like the best player in the draft. They create their board based on the best player to fit the New York Jets culture, the best player to fit the New York Jets needs, the best player that will come into this New York Jets team, right? They make their board based on the best player available that will fit the Jets, right? So that's what people need to realize, that they're not taking the best player available approach just because, this player is the best player here, and we're going to take him regardless if he's in need or not, right? They develop their board. In the top 10, right? They create 10 players, a list of 10 players of the best fit for the Jets, and then they go about their board. When they're on the clock at number 4, whoever that number 1 player is on that board is available, that's going to be the pick. When number 10 comes around, the best player available on their board, that's going to be the pick at number 10. I agree with that philosophy. It's worked with Ozzie Newsome for many, many years, and that's where Joe Douglas learned from. Why wouldn't you go Gardner, JJ, if you get Deebo without 10? Assuming KT is gone by 4. I personally think that the Jets are not going to draft a cornerback early. I just don't, especially listening to Joe Douglas talk to Michael Kay. I just feel like the Jets are going to, first of all, I love Sauce, but I'm sick of the Bryce Hall slander. I feel like the Jets do have 2 starting cornerbacks. And yes, you can make the argument that Sauce is, well, it's not a really argument, it's kind of a fact, that Sauce would be a big-time upgrade over Bryce Hall. I understand that. But I'm content, and I'd rather the Jets run it back with Bryce Hall and have DJ Reed and Bryce Hall being their starting corners, and then prioritize the trenches at 4 and 10, or maybe a playmaker at the wide receiver position as well as an edge. That's where my mindset is with that. Do you think that Deebo situation could break down any other wide receiver contract talks? Yeah, definitely possible. This whole trade scenario situation, the wide receiver market is exploding. As we know, they're becoming a premier position in this league, and a lot of teams are going to be interested, and there's going to be other contract situations like A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf to get sorted out as well. I don't expect us to draft the corner or safety early. Lots of players I think this staff believes in this roster. I agree. I also think that the Jets will be drafting both the corner and the safety more later on in the draft, more 3rd round and beyond, because that's the philosophy that I've noticed from this Jets team. They go all trenches and playmakers early. First year with Joe Douglas, they took Mekhi in the trenches, Denzel Mims in round 2. That's a protector, and that's a weapon. Not saying that those 2 are the best picks, but we'll see how it goes on. Year number 2 in Joe Douglas's draft, he takes a quarterback, obviously. Then he goes to protector, and then he goes to playmaker and another playmaker. So I think the Jets prioritize, trench work early, and then they go weapons for the quarterback, and then they go later on in the draft getting guys like Bryce Hall, getting guys like Ashtyn Davis, getting guys like Brandon Echols, Michael Carter II, Jason Pinnock. All those players were later picks and all in the secondary. Now, yes, do we want a blue chip guy in the secondary like a Sauce Gardner, like a Kyle Hamilton? Yeah, that would be great, but I do trust the Jets coaching staff's developmental part of it by getting a player later on and making him a big-time player, because Brandon Echols looked great as a rookie. Michael Carter II looked great as a rookie. Imagine what they're going to do in year number 2 when their name is called, and imagine what the Jets are going to do with more players coming in the draft. At 4, it's KT, JJ, or Ikem Ekwonu. I agree. I think these are probably going to be the 4 realistic options for the Jets. I think one of these 3 will be a Jet. That's my gut. I really feel like a week from today, I'll be live talking about it, and one of these 3 players will be a New York Jet for sure. Ricky says, hello. I'm a Niner fan and respectfully love Coach Saleh and Deebo. So if Deebo goes anywhere, I hope that it is with the Jets. Peace and blessings to all. Ricky, I appreciate you tuning in, and good luck to your Niners. And I agree. I hope Deebo does come to the Jets as well. Kirby Joseph in 3rd round. Yeah, I can definitely see that as well. There's a lot of players in the 3rd round that I love for the Jets and beyond, of course. But I agree with the role players late, but that will be for the offense, not defense. Running backs, receivers, tight ends, interior O-line, tackles. We flipped the strategy from last year. Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be defensive heavy at the top of this draft and offense at the back end of the draft, like the opposite last year. Like you said, last year, 4 offensive players in the first 4 picks. The next 6 picks were all defense. I think this year it's going to be premier defensive players and then all offensive depth pieces later on. What up, Matthew? At work right now, but had to tune in. Appreciate you tuning in from work, brother. Appreciate it. Always appreciate you tuning in to Jets Media. It's been a while. Good to have you back in the chat, my man. Good luck at work, and have a good night Saturday night. 5 days until the Jets Super Bowl, the draft. Funny, right? Funny. But yeah, it is true. The Jets does feel like it's a Super Bowl every year for the draft, right? Richie missed the best news. They replaced MetLife turf with weed flowers. Coming home from Colorado, very familiar with weed flowers. That's all I'll have to say, but I like this joke, Nolan. Any running back you like in this draft? Yeah, I love James Cook. I love Tyler Algier. I love a lot of players. I think the Jets will be drafting a receiver in the 4th or 5th round 100%. Regardless of what happens with Deebo, we have a game-changing wide receiver by next week. 100%. That's what Jets fans need to remind themselves, that Plan B isn't so bad, and Plan B is not getting Deebo Samuel. Plan A, in my eyes, is getting a veteran receiver via the trade market, like a Deebo Samuel or DK or AJ. But Plan B, not too bad. Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Treylon Burks, Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, Christian Watson. One of those guys is going to be a Jet, like guaranteed, if we do not get Deebo Samuel. So we're going to get a big-time receiver by next week, regardless of who it's going to be. Let's get Deebo, Gangrene, Portugal. Hey, Kevin, appreciate you tuning in from Portugal. It's awesome. And yeah, let's get Deebo. I agree. Breece Hall is another player I'd like, but I do feel like he's going to go a little too early for the Jets unless he falls like Michael Carter did last year. Yeah, Breece Hall is only going to be a second-round pick. I don't think the Jets are going to take him in the second round. I think we have bigger needs to fill in the second round unless they just love Breece Hall and they want to take him no matter what. Deebo not going to the Jets, especially without a first. Hey, man, we almost got Tyreek Hill without giving up a first. And I think Tyreek Hill is a little more valuable for Deebo, in my opinion. You could argue Deebo's younger. He has more potential because he is getting better and better. But Tyreek Hill is a top 3 receiver in this league. And the Chiefs accepted a package of 35, 38, and 69. And that value chart connects with just 10. So not saying it's guaranteed going to happen, but it could happen based on the capital that we have for the New York Jets. And also, the Niners have to be willing to do that. But hey, if it has to be a first-round pick, I would still do it. I'm not saying that the Jets are going to be able to get Deebo without a first-round pick guaranteed. I think it's more likely if the Jets give up a first-round pick. If it's number 10 and another pick later on, I'll do that. I'll do that right away. I think it's Deebo or Jameson by 10 at this time this week. Bro, if it's one of these two players that are on the New York Jets by this week, I am going to be so happy. I'm going to be freaking out. Not even kidding. These are it's either Deebo Samuel or Jameson Williams for me. Jameson Williams is my favorite player at the wide receiver position in the draft. He has been for a while. Even with that wide receiver, even with the ACL, bring him here, baby. Niners can want a lot. There's not a lot of teams in on Deebo and can pay him. Jets are in the AFC and has connections. Facts. Down. Drake London is a great compliment for the Jets. Yeah, I think Drake London is another player that will be have a good opportunity to be on the Jets at pick number 10. It's either going to be him, Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Treylon Burks, Chris Olave, Christian Watson, or Deebo Samuel on the Jets by next week. Pretty crazy, guys. Pretty crazy. Draft is right around the corner. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I see that we got 124 people tuning in. If you're just tuning in for the first time, I'd really appreciate you guys being here. Don't forget to hit that like button. We got 60 likes. The goal is to finish off the stream with over 100 likes. It feels good to be live, man. It's been a while on the channel. It feels good to be talking Jets football. And yeah, man, we're doing a Jets Q&A right now. We're talking connecting with the chat. Any questions you guys have, feel free to let me know. Olave is severely underrated for some reason. Yeah, I think so as well. I think he's going to be one of those players that falls and is a steal. Tony says, I'm a Falcons fan, and I was on a 49ers chat last night, and they would like to make a deal with your squad. I'm down to make a deal. I mean, we do got connections. We got Salah. We got LaFleur. We got the same system here. I'm down. We won't know about any Deebo deal until the Jets are up on the clock at 10, if that's the pick involved. Yeah, that is true, because the Niners could be waiting to see who's available at 10 before they pull the trigger on giving up, like trading for it, right? Icky at 4, JJ at 10, then trade up for Olave. Bro, listen, I would not be shocked if this is the case. Like, say we do not get Deebo Samuel. If Aquanu is the pick at 4, Jermaine Johnson's the pick at 10, and we either stay put at 35 to draft the receiver, or we trade back into the first round to get a guy like Olave, or get a guy like Jameson Williams, or get a guy like Treylon Burks. Yes, that's 2 premier trench players on both sides of the ball, and you're getting your playmaker. Hell yeah. Is Deebo worth 25 plus per year for the Jets? I personally think so. I think he's a player that's only getting better. If you look at his numbers last year, it was freaky. Like that I mean, I don't expect him to do that like on the Jets for sure, but I think it's worth it. The Jets are in a position where they could afford to overpay for a receiver, right? You can argue that, yes, $25 million per year is ridiculous, and it's an overpay. But I think the Jets are in a position that they can overpay for a receiver right now, because they got a quarterback on a rookie deal, and they got a lot of cheap contracts where they could sacrifice cap space for a big-time weapon for the young quarterback. It's only going to help Zach Wilson, man. Trip was amazing star statistics. Appreciate you asking. Feels good to be back, though, talking some Jets. Going to be live a lot this week leading up into the NFL draft. Excited for sure. We got fans in here talking smack. Mac Jones is cool. Is that what you're saying? Zach Wilson's cool. Daniel with the $5 super chat. Appreciate the donation, my man. Wilson will be great, and that will be because everyone else got better. I watched. Wait. Wilson will be great, and that will cause everyone else to get better. I watched. Hey, I hope this is the case, Daniel. I really do appreciate the $5 donation. It means a lot to the channel, my man. And I agree. I feel like Wilson is going to take a step next year, and people need to realize that there's a lot of players on this team that could be developing with Zach Wilson. Hold on one second. Like, if Zach Wilson takes that next step, that means Elijah Moore took the next step. That means Michael Carter took the next step. That means the offensive line took another step with Elijah Vera-Tucker going in year number 2. That means Mekhi Becton's healthy potentially, and he's playing his best football in year number 3. That means Corey Davis is playing his better ball. That means all the rookies that we drafted this year are contributing. People forget that we have a lot of talent on this offense that's developing with Zach Wilson. I'm just changing my battery real quick, guys. Don't you go anywhere. Don't you worry. I see that we got a lot of new people tuning into the show. 142 to be exact. We got 69 likes. I feel bad of getting rid of the 69 number, but hey, everyone smash that like button. Let's get to 100 likes before the stream is all wrapped up. It means a lot for you, to me, to have you guys in the chat talking some Jets football. But Daniel, really do appreciate the donation as always, my man. Appreciate it, of course. We got a big-time hater in the chat. Look at this take. I'm not going to even give that any life. 49ers would want one of the Jets' top 10 picks. If the Jets not going to give one of those for Hill, what is the likelihood the Jets make that trade for Deebo? You know, I feel like the Jets just got away with a package. I feel like the Jets could have been down to give up 10 for Hill if Hill wanted to come here. We won't know that, but we don't know if the Jets are willing to give. If the Niners say we're not trading you Deebo without you guys giving us number 10, then I feel like the Jets would be doing it, because think of it this way. If the Jets give up the 10th pick for Deebo Samuel, the Jets basically traded Jamal Adams for Elijah Vera-Tucker and Deebo Samuel. That is insane. That is awesome. That's 2 offensive cornerstone players, a franchise guard and a franchise receiver, for a player in Jamal Adams who is demanding a lot of money and now on a team in Seattle. And it's not like Jamal's a bad player or anything, but we just, we're not going to get into Jamal Adams talk. Spin says, I think this year Wilson will show promise. He will have the second-year jitters and stumble, but will show improvement. Year 3 will be when Wilson will start to bring everything together. I agree with this. My expectations for Zach Wilson is not to light up the league in year number 2. I think he's still going to have some games where he struggles and looks like a young quarterback developing, but he's going to show more promise than he did in year number 1. That's my expectations. I think he's going to show tremendous growth where there's going to be a game where he really blows up. He's going to win maybe offensive player of the week 1 week where he's really going to show that he has potential in this league. But there will be also some games and some moments where he does look like a player developing. And I'm expecting year number 3 for Zach Wilson to potentially break out and be the guy, be a top quarterback where people are looking at him like, okay, he is legit. Not saying that this is all going to happen, but I feel like if he does break out and become a star quarterback, I think that's how it's going to happen. I don't expect it to happen this year, but hey, you never know. He could be a Pro Bowler this year for all I know. Am I right? Love the idea of Icky at 4, JJ at 10, and trading up for a playmaker. My choice would be Williams or Burks. I think people are overstating the depth on O-line with some contracts coming up soon. I agree, Todd. I was just talking about in the live that don't be shocked if Kwanu is still on the board at 4. I still don't know what the hell they'll do on the offensive line this year, but that'll be a great pick for the future of this offensive line because now, with Fant's contract not being extended, he's a free agent next year. And, Becton being the only guy under contract for the future on this offensive line, as well as ABT. I think this would be crazy. I think this is my dream scenario is Kwanu at 4, Jermaine Johnson at 10, trading back into the first round and getting a guy in Jameson Williams or Burks. If that happens, guys, you'll see me parading on this channel. You will definitely see me parading on this channel. If the Jets get Deebo, think about it. Deebo, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Michael Carter, CJ Uzomah, and Tyler Conklin. Then some serious patch catching options for a second-year quarterback. It's up to Zach then. Facts. My biggest thing that I want the Jets to do this offseason has been spoil Zach Wilson. That's been my mantra. I want Joe Douglas to continue to spoil Zach Wilson, where Zach Wilson walks out there on the field and he's like, wow, I have weapons. I don't know how to share this ball because there's so many guys I love. That's what I want, and that's what's going to happen, man. And the crazy thing about what you just said, TA Rug, is we have all those players but one, right? So even if we strike out on Deebo, we still have Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Carter, Uzomah, and Conklin, and whoever we add in the draft. So worst comes to worst, we do not get Deebo, but we get Jameson Williams, but we get Treylon Burks. We get one of those players. I see you guys talking smack in the chat. I love it. Who do you think wins the kicker spot, Greg or Eddie? Eddie did show some promise last year, but Greg is a savvy vet. So, my gut tells me it's probably going to be Greg Zuerlin because he does have more experience, unless Eddie just is coming off a great, half a year with the Jets or however long he was on this team, and he just destroys him in training camp. But if I had to guess, it would be Greg just because of his experience. Is Uzomah coming off an ACL, MCL sprain or tear? I think it's a sprain. It's not a torn. He played through it in the Super Bowl. So you can't play through a torn, ligament. You can play through like a sprain or a bruised ligament, which is what happened. So I'm expecting him to be ready. I like AJ Brown a lot. Do you think we can do a trade to include Hey. You listen. Corey Davis is a good player. Is he a great player? No. Is he a number 1 receiver? No. Is he a quality number 2 receiver? Yes. The problem with Corey Davis last year is he was thrown into the number 1 receiver role, and he's not a number 1 receiver. If we trade for AJ Brown, do you have any idea how good that will be for Corey Davis? Corey Davis's best season of his career came 2 seasons ago with the Tennessee Titans. AJ Brown was the number 1 receiver. Corey Davis was the number 2 receiver. Corey Davis just had under 1,000 yards. That's Corey Davis's game. There's a big-time playmaker on his offense with him to take all the pressure off of him, and it's going to open him up. If you trade for AJ Brown, you do not package Corey Davis in there. You keep Corey Davis, and you keep the weapons for Zach. Will the Jets draft Sauce Gardner? My instinct says no, but what do I know? I can be completely wrong. I just don't think the Jets are going to value a cornerback that early. Stance on using decent draft capital on stud receiver like Breece Hall. I think the Jets are going to draft their running back in this draft, but I do not think they're going to use decent draft capital for it. Like Breece Hall, because I think you'd have to take him in the second round unless he somehow falls to 69, which I don't see happening. I think the Jets are going to be drafting a running back, but later, more like 4th, 5th round territory. I think having real tight ends this year will be huge for Zach. I agree, man. We have 2 legit veterans that's been in this league for a while, CJ Uzomah, Tyler Conklin, and probably going to draft one later on to add to that depth. Speaking of tight ends, Garrett asked, would you grab McBride in a second? Could be a huge get for the Jets and future of this team. Trey McBride was my favorite player in this entire draft. So I would love if the Jets took him and also moved 3 legit tight ends. But I just don't see that happening because if we just signed, say, CJ Uzomah and we did not sign Tyler Conklin, I can see this happening. But we did get 2 legit tight ends. I think they're going to rather take a tight end later on, like in the 4th or 5th round, to develop behind them and provide depth rather than take a premier asset. I think the Jets are going to be drafting, like, say they stay at 4, 10, 35, 38. They don't move. They're staying put and drafting all 4 of those picks. I think all 4 of those picks are going to be players that comes in and starts and going to be, like, really good right away. And if we get McBride in a second, he's not going to start. He's going to be behind Conklin and Uzomah. But, hey, if we do get McBride in a second, I won't be complaining because he is one of my favorite players in this draft. Is this year the Jets climb out of the AFC East basement? Very good question. I guess this means that we're not the last. I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting this in next year, not this year upcoming, simply because I think this is going to be another year of growth for the Jets, of Zach Wilson learning the NFL, another year of rookies coming in and getting a lot of time. I think we're going to make drastic improvements. I also think that we're going to be more competitive in the division, but you never know. The Miami Dolphins definitely improved a lot with getting Tyreek Hill. The Patriots haven't really done anything crazy that makes me scared of them, and the Buffalo Bills are the Buffalo Bills. So anything can happen. They could definitely finish 3rd or 2nd, or win the division for all I know. But I don't expect them to get out of the basement this year. I'm expecting them to definitely do it year after. Is there a receiver worth a 10th pick, or should the Jets trade back a little? Yeah, I draft Garrett Wilson at 10. I draft Drake London at 10. I draft Jameson Williams at 10. If they want to trade back and one of those players is still there, or Treylon Burks is there, or Chris Olave is there, and they like them, then do it. Let's see. Trying to see what you guys have to say. But yeah, man, there's a lot of things to look forward to, guys. Again, if you're just tuning in, help me get to 100 likes. We have 90 likes and 151 of you guys tuning in. Feels great to be back live talking about the New York Jets. As you guys know, I did take a little step back from the channel and was on a little retreat. Took away from not only YouTube, but technology in general. Was not on my phone at all. Felt really refreshing. But it feels great to be back talking some Jets football. We have the NFL draft coming up. We got a lot of guests coming up on the channel this week, so stay tuned for that. I'll be live the night of the draft. I'll be live again tomorrow. I'll be live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to be making videos, some mock drafts, some crazy things, some hypothetical scenarios that we can go over. It means a lot that you guys are tuning in to Jets Media, and I appreciate you guys. I'm going to end the stream here. If you guys have any final words for me about the draft or anything regarding the New York Jets, let me know in the chat. But we're going to be wrapping things up in the next couple of minutes here. So I do appreciate everything. And don't forget to help me out. Hit that like button if you did not already. If you already hit that like button, thank you. I appreciate you guys. You're big time. So any final words you guys have, let me know. Looks like pass rusher is getting mocked at 4. You agree with that? Hell yes. I want a pass rusher at number 4. That's my number 1 position. Don't go hiatus again. I'll let you guys know next time. If I ever go hiatus, I'll give you guys a little preview or a little warning before. So you're like, where did I go? Where'd I go? This time I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go off the radar and let them know during it. But I did go live during the retreat, so there you go. Hypothetically trade up for Hutchinson. I don't really see this happening, to be honest, unless they love him that much. You feel me? Linebackers, please talk about a linebacker situation. Yeah, I can talk about that real quick. I feel like the Jets are going to draft a linebacker later in this draft, either or in the second round. I can see it happening. But I feel like CJ Mosley, they think highly of him. Quincy Williams, they think highly of. And the two rookies last year, Jamie Sherwood and Hamza Alzadine, they're excited for. But I definitely feel like they're going to add a player in the draft to compete and potentially start. What team do you think would take 38, 35 if we trade back into the first round? I can see the Saints. There's anybody in the 20s, to be honest, or in the late teens. Have a good night, man, and go Jets. Yes, sir, Todd. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate everybody tuning in to Jets Media. We have 96 likes. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you're not already. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Great advertising with Deebo on your site. That's why I chimed in. Blessings, everyone, 49ers fan. Thanks, Ricky. Appreciate you tuning in, my man. But that's going to do it for this stream, guys. I appreciate all the support. Expect more Jets content coming your way tomorrow and Monday and every single day for a while. And I'll catch you guys in my next stream. Let's go Jets, baby. Peace.